So with that in mind, I mean, we can just go ahead and just dive right into Karen's part. I can let her introduce herself and just go from there.
Sounds good.
All right. So I'm Karen Rowe. I've met with a few people, but do we want to say who's here? Because I can't see because I'm in the room. And so maybe we could just go around and do introductions so I can see who's here. I've met with some people in some of the districts, but I haven't met with others. So I'm Karen Rowe. I'm the Regional Grant Navigator for PPACG. I've been hired through a grant to PPACG from the state. And my job is to work with communities in PPACG area, Park, Teller, El Paso County, to see if we can secure federal grants from the Infrastructure Investment Jobs Act, IIJA, or the Inflation Reduction Act, IRA. So that's who I am, but I'd like to hear who's here today. So I've met with quite a few communities, but not others.
And I can go ahead and just call that name. So, Andrew?
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Andrew Rippey. I'm the Stormwater Program Manager at Fort Carson.
Thank you. Brandon? Brandon Zimbles.
Hello, hey, I'm Brandon Zimbles. I'm with Cherokee Metropolitan District. I'm their district engineer, EIT. This is my first meeting, so hello to everybody.
All right. Brandon from Security Wi-Fi. I think that's Brandon Bernard.
Yes, hello, everybody. I'm with the Security Water District. I'm kind of sitting in for Roy Heel today.
All righty. And JD.
JD Shivers with Woodman Hills Metro District. I'm a water director.
All right. And then Angie, I guess before we get started, do you kind of want to introduce yourself as well? And then.
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Angie Martell. I'm brand new with PPACG as the environmental planner. And actually have been reaching out to some members on the community to try to, or the committee, sorry, to try to get to know each of you and what your concerns are. So you may see emails coming from me, just trying to touch base and get to know everyone who's on the committee and everyone working on water quality in the region. So you'll see more of me. I'll plan to attend these in person in the future. Apologies that I can't be there in person, but it looks like we only don't have anyone in person anyway. So yeah, look forward to meeting everyone.
All righty. Karen, I think we're good to go.
Okay. So I put together this presentation with the attachments in mind that were in your packet. So is this the PowerPoint that I presented? Because I thought I had a title page. I don't think
so there's actually a different presentation that Karen sent. This is the attachment for background info.
Yeah, so I encourage you to use the agenda for the background information, which is really good. It gives a lot of information. What my job is as the federal or the grant navigator is to try to figure out your specific needs and see how we can tie that to the specific federal grants, possible loan programs, and see if we can't find a grant that works really well for your organization, district, and apply for that. I'm happy to meet with any of you. I'll have my contact information at the end, but I'm going to go over what some of the resources. So the main purpose for me is the state has set up different resources and different abilities to try to be successful at federal grant funding for the state. So to get as much of those federal funds as possible. I'm still looking for what water quality needs each group has. So let's keep going and see if any of these speak to you. So there's regional grant navigators around the state, and this is just a a little bit of what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to review your plans and understand what your grant opportunities are. And so then I coordinate with what was called Governor's Recovery Office. It's now the Federal Financial and Strategic Initiative. Next. So these are my responsibilities. And I've kind of gone over to that, but I reach out to rural and underserved communities in particular. But again, if you're a water district that needs a sanitation district that needs some help getting clean water, upgrading, anything like that, just let me know. So these are two different resources. And I'm not sure if water districts are available or sanitation districts to receive the LOMA, but there is something called the Local Match Assistance Program, and it's through DOLA. And it will provide matching funds for the federal grants. So if your community doesn't have the money, a lot of the water grants, it's like a 50% match, but if you need like $1 million and you don't have the $500,000 to match, you can apply for this local match assistance. And then the other resource is so what I hear a lot of times when you go out for grants is we don't have anyone to write it. We don't have that expertise. And so again, the state has provided consultants that can provide grant writing abilities, and there's different levels of support. They can review your grant, they can co-write it, they can write the full thing, or they can possibly provide project planning and technical assistance. So if there's anything that you need in particular and you may not have the skill sets for, or your staff may not, we can see if this grant writing support can help. Next. So the number one thing that I recommend is what I have found is there's grants that are given to districts or communities, but EPA actually got a grant that is provided them to staff up with various experts and resources to provide technical assistance. So it's a free service and you can easily sign up to say, hey, I need some technical assistance to help with my water needs. And so they can help provide funding, but they also provide engineering support. So I watched a webinar on this and they said, look, if the community reaches out to us and we're working with them and they need some engineering money to get a design done in order to go forward on a grant, they will hire a local engineering firm and pay that local engineering firm to do the design on behalf of the organization. So I haven't seen anyone get this service yet, but I have seen the EPA technical assistance on other ends, and it's been very well done. And they and the webinar, they kind of say, under-resourced, not under-resourced, underutilized. So, they have money to spend to help communities and districts. I would recommend it. It's very, very so next slide. These are things that this water technical assistance helps with. So again, it helps look at what do you need. They'll help you even develop financial rates for your customers to see how maybe you could self-fund it. But they will also see what other grants or what other sources of funding are available that you could apply for and help you apply. So the other programs that is available for stormwater projects, and again, it depends on what you need, are these two resources. Again, these are in your attachments. And I'm not an expert in this, so a lot of times I may reach out to you to see some of the technical nuances of it, but I want to point this out. Next slide. So that's just one of the resources. And then the WIFIA loan program. So a lot of communities say, I don't need a loan, I need the money. But if you do need loans, again, this is a possibility of a resource to be able to help you out with some of the needs that you might have. A lot of times I can't find grants that seem to fund the infrastructure, but this loan program seems to be providing that. And you guys might be more familiar with it, but this is a high level. The current grants out that might be something that you guys would be interested in, Environmental Water Resources Grant. It helps with water conservation efficiency projects that result in water savings and ecological values of watershed health. So I look at that as like fixing some of the irrigations or possibly helping with some of the erosion issues that you might have. Next slide. So those are eligible projects, activities. This is a list of activities that's available under this resource grant. And I think this one is due, it's in the attachments, but it's either November. No, this one is due, I think, in January, March of next year. So you have some time. So if you're interested in this, again, a lot of them talk about fishing, but again, if you improve the water quality, that will improve the conditions for the ecosystems. So this is more information on it. Again, it's up to $3 million for a total cost of a $6 million project. But if you have a $1 million project, that's an example. And then it shows there that the 25% non-federal cost share is all that's needed. A lot of them are 50%, so a 25% isn't too much in comparison. But it has to be non-federal. So this is the time frame for this, and I apologize. There we go. I have it March 11th, 2025 for this grant. So this is round 2. So you can go back and look at what round 1 projects were awarded, and I'd be happy to help with that. So you can see whether your project or your needs might fit this requirement. A lot of these Water Smart grants, as you can see, though, the money is like a year off. So again, you would apply now, or you'd start your application now. You get the application submitted before March 11th, and then they would let you know by August whether you got it or not. And then December, it would be available, 2025. So some that are upcoming, something called the Applied Science Grant, and that's expected to come out in October 2024. And again, what I don't know is what your needs are, but it has their, enhanced modeling, adapt forecasting tools and technology, improve access to and use of water resource data. So, and it's a smaller amount of the grant, but if you're interested, please let me know. So, there's one other grant that wasn't in your attachments, and I can send some more out. It's called the Grant Maker Grant, and it's coming out soon. It's smaller amount of funds, 150, 250, 350,000. There's a training that will take place in Denver, October 9th, and I'll make sure to send something out on that. But that's a little bit of the highlight of the grants that I know of right now. But again, what I try to do is get a list of what are your needs and whether a federal grant comes up that might meet it. There's so many different ones from so many different areas. So Water Smart is part of Bureau of Reclamation, but the EPA does have other grants available or other abilities to connect you with funds. And then we never know what's going to come up next. I didn't know if anyone had any questions for me or any thoughts to share on what their experience has been.
Yeah, I don't think I got the attachments, but if I wanted to just look at those those grants? Is it just going to Water Smart, like their website?
It should be attached to the agenda that was sent out. So if you scroll down through the agenda, it should be in there. I can send you some of the links. So Water Smart, yes. But some of the information like WIFIA just came out. That's the other program. But I can send some links to these particular grants as well as the grant maker that's coming up. And again, the grant makers through the Inflation Reduction Act, and it's meant to be a really easy process to get some funds. But I'm happy to also set up a meeting and see what you have as a need. There was a drought resiliency grant that talked about, how to build more water storage, but that's due in beginning of October. So there's not enough time at this point to really put a grant together. But that's where I keep an eye out, because if they have this kind of grant this year, they would have it the next year or the following year. And there may be, I see there's a lot of sanitation districts on here. I haven't, when I meet with the communities, I haven't seen a lot of sanitation needs, but I'll look through and see if there's more grants along those lines. So yeah, you can look under Water Smart and look under the titles that I had put down there.
Okay, thanks.
Just, again, I know the grants may be overwhelming, so that's what I'm here to help with, is to, see if it really meets. Like, for example, you guys may know, but, what I learned is if there's capacity building grants, that means staff, right? So it means that the grant will help pay for personnel to do work. And then some of them have a match, some of them don't, some of them, may vary depending whether your community, or area meets the disadvantaged or, Justice 40. I would really recommend signing up for that EPA technical assistance. It won't hurt. It's free and it's ongoing. So if you can set up a relationship there, that's a great resource.
I'll also echo what Karen's already mentioned. If you have a project and you're not sure if it's a good fit for one of these grants, she's got a wealth of information and can help guide you. Just call her up and say, hey, this is my need. Does it fit any of these grants that are available? And she can help point you towards something that fits, or at least keep an eye out for something in the future. So just want to echo, she's a great resource.
Yeah, I've been keeping a list, and then what I do with that list is make sure I have the right contact, make sure I have the information about the project, and I also meet with DOLA. So sometimes it's going to be, I meet with DOLA, I look at state grant and so sometimes grants like, we won't pay for design, we'll only pay for construction. Well, let's figure out a way that we can get your design funded. But I kind of need to know, how much is the cost for that design? So I can see what resources are available for that. And I keep that list going. And then also see if there's any synergy with other organizations where maybe you could apply for one grant, but with two organizations for a similar need.
And then
Hey,
this is your email at the bottom here to reach out if we want to, just say these are our needs and you can help me navigate.
Yep.
Okay.
I generally like to set up a virtual or in-person meeting just to go over them, but I'm happy to just take them and then do some research before we meet too. I always find just asking some questions on the details helps me make sure I'm categorizing it right or explaining it if I need to meet with someone about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I'll probably reach out sometime this week then, just touch base. But okay.
Okay.
Any other questions for Karen? All right, well, we'll share out this information for anyone who was not able to attend. Okay. Any announcements from anyone on the call? Okay. And Mark, I see that you have joined the meeting. Would you like to introduce yourself and then take over the meeting here?
Yeah, sorry, I was having connection issues trying to get connected or whatever. So, Mark Parker, I think I'm the vice chair for the organization. And I don't have anything, so
Great.
And what community are you with, Mark?
Monument Sanitation District.
Okay.
All right. Jared, does that take us to the end of the meeting?
It does, unless there's anything else. We didn't have a quorum, so we don't really have to officially close it. But unless anyone else has anything, I think we can give everyone back the day.